right, after several days of intensive cleaning and organizing, I think I've got a studio that I can use again. And the last bit here I want to share with you today is my secondary tabaret. Over the pandemic, when my husband was working from home, he got a stand-up desk that he has now since given to me to use in my studio. And it's awesome, but I don't like to keep it too cluttered generally, so some of my office supplies will go here. I've got my stapler, my tape, my hole punch, and I also keep a lot of my extra framing tools in here. Let's take a look. At the top, we've just got some extra wire. And this is an old Stanley toolbox. And I keep things up in here, but also inside here. Let's see, what have we got? It looks like stuff for framing. We've got D-rings, we've got nails, we've got hooks, we've got things to keep canvases in to the frames. And these are little Phillips screws that I use almost exclusively now. I used to use different sizes of screws, and once again, the best thing you can do is standardize, standardize, standardize if you're selling. And this is pretty much the size I use when I'm putting wires on the back of my paintings. And then these are the hooks I'll use in shows if we need them. Just put the nails on for that. Tiny tape measures, and I've got a big tape measure in my other box. But another tip is if you go to your local hardware store and you have your standardized sizes of D-rings and screws and things, have it written out. So when they go, "How can I help you today?" you can show them exactly what you need and what size. And that way it'll always be the same, because there's nothing worse than having different sizes when you're trying to keep things standard for a show. I just keep it in a little Ziploc bag with all my other stuff. And then underneath I've got other tools, hammers and wire and clips and all manner of things. And I still keep all of my wire tools here on an antique pipe rack, and it just works really well to keep them when I need them, because I actually use them for all kinds of things, not just framing. It's just nice to have them right there where I can grab them. And in this little drawer I have a self-healing mat and a paper cutter. I'd really like one of those really big ones that we used to use in grade school, but those are kind of hard to come by nowadays. And once again, I am not a shelf person for storing things that I use on a regular basis, because it gets tedious to go in and out, in and out. And also, I tend to forget when I put things out of sight, they're out of mind. So that's why I put things down like this. And I have quite a collection of sponges that I like to use in my watercolors and for other crafts. I have cellulose sponges, which are the artificial kind, and then I have the natural sponges, which are more irregular and cool shaped. I have a lot of what I call zippy bags. They're Ziploc bags, different sizes. You can use them for all kinds of things. And I've got some relatively inexpensive twine that I use for a myriad of reasons. For my oil painting, I like to have disposable gloves to keep my hands clean, especially because of the solvents. Tiny little Acme anvil that I can drop on roadrunners. But no, for real, I used to use this a lot when I was silversmithing. Same thing with when I was doing gemology. I got a lot of tweezers for handling gemstones, but they're very useful even now. Same thing with the files. This is where I keep all my various blades and sharp things. And knives and X-Actos, because over time these were getting confused with each other. So I like, when I need a paring knife, I have a paring knife. When I need a X-Acto, I have a X-Acto. And as you can tell, I don't have any small children or animals running around, or else I wouldn't be keeping all of these things down low. Although the parrot does get into quite a bit of trouble, and so he can never be left unattended, ever. And then I have my pokey things, which I use for different stuff. Some of them are quite sharp. And then behind here are the glues that would not fit under the other place I was showing you the other day. So I have a few of those. I have my water media for watercolors, different grounds and mediums. And here's where I keep all my things for my acrylics and also charcoal powder, because that kind of isn't enough to have its own category yet, so I just lumped that in. Then over here, we have the oils, varnishes, and mediums. And then down at the bottom tier, we have all the solvents and dangerous stuff. Once again, there aren't any little hands to go grabbing at it. If anybody does come visit, this gets all locked away. But this is antifreeze. It's actually vodka that I use to keep my watercolor water from freezing when I'm going down to, up to -5 Fahrenheit or so. And that's a nice little tip. You just put in a few drops into your water and it'll keep the freezing temperature at a lower temperature. WD-40 to getting stains out of things and for creaky doors. We've got all of our mineral spirits, Gamesol. I do not use these in the studio unless I have all the windows open and there's a steady breeze, because I don't want to be inhaling that. Even though you don't smell it like you do turpentine, it's still very bad for your lungs. And that's why I'm mostly a watercolor artist, because I love oils, but they do not love me or my lungs. Then we've got some containers for said Gamesol. Got all of our soap and cleaners, safety glasses, and just to show you, my favorite soap in the whole world, for especially with oil painting, is called Pinerite. This stuff will get out anything that is staining your hands or making them all gummy. Highly recommended. It's made here in Colorado. Really neat stuff. And also for brushes, I also can't recommend enough. This is the Master's Brush Cleaner and Preserver. Also just very, very cool for your brushes, keeps them going. I've had some brushes over 10, 15 years because I use this stuff regularly. And this is where I keep all my fixatives, adhesives, and gesso. Some of these products they don't make anymore, apparently. I used to love this stuff from Krylon called Make It Acid Free. And I can't find it anywhere anymore, but it definitely helped if you were using stuff for collages like newspaper and stuff. It wouldn't really make it acid free, but it would definitely slow down the yellowing process. It was a neat product. And Workative Fixative, I use that all the time. So I keep that all in here. Over here on the side, I've got some cheesecloth that I use in watercolor for certain effects. Also various grits of sandpaper, because I use that in my watercolors as well for different effects. And it's just useful to have around in general. All right, so there we go with the secondary tabouret. And it is on wheels. And I have been known to use it in the past for when I've been working on my oil easel over here. But lately, I've been doing so much watercolors that it's mostly staying parked right here where it is. And I'll have another folding table that I keep over here in the corner that I'll use and bring that out to work on the oils. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to show you. Some people are really interested in this system I have here. This is for keeping track of all my businessy things. Basically, what galleries I'm in, what shows, my current inventory and prices, people that I'm trying to keep in touch with. And other things that I've been doing. And the reason I'm old-fashioned. I like to have everything physically so I can flip through it. And it's really nice, if you're at a show and someone's like, so how much is this? And, in this size, and you hem and haw and go, well, I don't know. Whereas now I can just, take this book out and go, well, it's actually this much, da, 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 da. And same thing for having an inventory sheet. If you're in a gallery, it's really good to have, to keep really good track of where everything is and how much it is in case something goes amiss. And then I'll make these sheets that I write up, and I also have this on my computer, but it'll have my inventory number, when I made it, the size, and all these different factual things. And sometimes I'll even, get a picture and put in here when I have time. And that way, I can keep track of every little piece of artwork that's in the gallery. So that is my newly organized art studio. And another time, maybe I'll show you all the collections and gewgaws and gadgets I've collected over the years for my still life painting and just for general enjoyment. Thanks again so very much for hanging out with me in my studio. Stay well, keep warm, and I'll see you next week.